Do you, Ben, take this training plan to be your guide and companion, to post on the fridge and to look at every day from this day forward, for better or for worse, from tired legs and blistered feet, in sickness and in health, to live by and to follow till race day do you part?
I do.
Selecting a training plan is a big commitment. This training plan is going to take you from where you are now to the finish line. So making sure you pick the right plan is vital. In this video, we're going to talk about getting your fitness right before you start your training plan. We're going to talk about realistic timelines for achieving your goals, especially if you have really big goals. Then we'll talk about the different types of training plans and how to pick the best plan for you. I'll tell you about the free training plans that I've used to establish my framework to get me from 32 miles and beyond. If you really want to set yourself up for success, then you need to build some foundational health. In running, we call this your base. If you just started running, or maybe you've taken a few months break, or maybe the holidays, when you get back or start the habit of running again, your body is probably not in performance mode. And we need to change that. It's important that we get to the point where we can start to run for a half hour, 4 to 5 times a week. The body is particularly susceptible to injury during this period. Stiff muscles are starting to come alive again, and the last thing we want to do is ask too much of them. So set aside 4 to 5 times a week to start building that fitness base. Start with a 20-minute walk, then add some occasional jogging, and eventually some running. Build that up until you can get to the point where you can run for that full 20 minutes. Then do 20 minutes of running 4 to 5 times a week for 2 weeks. Maybe throw in a strength training session here and there. And bippity-boppity-boo, you're ready to start your training plan. A month of light running will greatly reduce your risk of injury. The goal is to get active without overdoing it. Hopefully this should feel easy and get you over that initial hurdle when it comes to building a habit. And hopefully it should start to feel fun. For now. All right, back to the training plan. I once had a friend say that the hardest part of an ultramarathon is showing up trained and healthy. And he's right. If you can follow the training plan and show up healthy and ready on race day, odds are pretty good you're probably going to make it to the finish line. And feeling mostly good. Training plans are amazing. They make your life so much easier. It takes so much effort to plan out and strategize 26 weeks worth of running. And by having a training plan all laid out, all you have to do is walk up to the training plan and see what you have to do that day. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. All you have to worry about is the 6 miles you have today. It's simple daily goals. Besides, running is hard enough. Why would you want to make it harder? It'll provide you with clear daily direction on your path to reach your goal. You know, it's too bad that everything in life doesn't have such a clear plan. This training plan will become the backbone of your training and pretty much the backbone of your life for the next 26 weeks. It's super important and there's kind of a lot to it. To make sure you succeed, it's probably best to have a plan that's already laid out, that's been tried and tested. Let's look at the big picture for a minute. Odds are if you're watching this video, then you have a specific distance you want to go. In fact, you probably have a very specific race that you want to run. It's that race that when you find yourself daydreaming, you see yourself crossing that finish line. You hear the crowds cheering and they're yelling, "Go Ben, go Ben." The people will cry and the children will look up you and go, "I want to be like you." Sorry about that. I know that for me, having a specific race is very important. It gives me focus. If I spend money on a race, I'm not going to waste it. I want to make sure I'm out there training as much as I can. And so I become much more diligent about my training. But before we get all caught up again, let's slow down for a second. Let's take a quick look at the time frame that's going to be required to achieve our goals. Some of these big races might take some time to work for. I'm not saying that you can't do them this year, but if you want to be happy, healthy, and finished, then you're going to need to pace yourself. Here's a list of the standard races. These are the literal milestones that you're looking to achieve. First of all, always consult with a doctor before embarking on this kind of training. This is for entertainment purposes only, and all of my advice is based on my own personal experience and research. If you're healthy and active, you could possibly do the first 4 or 5 in your first year. I would personally sign up for an event that each time you meet one of these milestones, your first 5K, 10K, half marathon, reaching a new running milestone is a big deal, and it should be celebrated, especially the road marathon. A road marathon, although my least favorite distance on my least favorite surface, it's a big party. There's usually lots of runners and big crowds at the finish line, and lots of emotion. It's one of those experiences that you'll never forget. For the longest time, I didn't even realize there was a distance beyond a marathon. But as you get to trail runs, the crowds get smaller and the energy gets smaller. The reward usually comes from the inside, not from the outside. Don't skip the marathon event. It's a big deal. After you reach your first marathon, or even 32-miler, it's a good idea to slow down the pace a little bit. It's a good idea to just do 1 milestone per year. 32 miles to 50 miles is a big step, and 50 to 100 miles is even bigger. If you're just starting, be aware it's going to take a few years to reach your goals, especially if you have 100-mile ultra dreams. With every milestone, evaluate your results. Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it excessively hard? I hate everything. From this, you can see if you can go to the next level or if you need to slow down and take it easier for another round. For me, the first time I ever completed a race past a 10K was miserable. A few days later, I'd start to feel better. And then I look back on it with fond memories. The second time I did any of those distances, it went much better. The first really is the worst. In later videos, I'll go into more detail about each distance and what it teaches you about running and yourself. So you're looking for a training plan. So you pull up Google and you search for it. And wow, there are a lot of training plans from a lot of different people in a lot of different places. Coach, no coach, free, paid. So how do you know which training plan to choose? Well, you really don't. You pick the one that you like the best and you just go with it. Just realize there are a lot of training plans out there. So if you don't like a particular plan, you can always change and find another one. In a few minutes, I'll show you the plan that I chose and why I chose it. When you're in the process of looking for a training plan, you want to make sure that it has some essential elements to it. First one, it reaches your goal. The plan has to get you where you want to go. It's kind of obvious. Number two, it gives you the time that you need. Your body is going to need some time to change and adapt. So the farther you're going, the more time you're going to need for your body to adapt and change. So make sure it gives you time to do that. Number three, it follows the 10% rule. In running training, there's a rule called the 10% rule. And that means that this week's mileage shouldn't be 10% more than last week's total mileage. Going more than 10% more each week could potentially lead you into having problems with injuries. So take it easy and just slowly build up. Don't push it too hard. All right, number four, that training plan needs to include all the essential elements. It needs to include long runs, intervals, back-to-backs, rest days, gym sessions, and stretching. We'll go into all of those in detail in just a few videos. Number five, the plan needs to include easy weeks. These are weeks where the mileage might go down for one of the weeks. This gives you a chance of body to recover and build back up again. You're kind of pushing the limits, so it's a good idea to have a week where you just kind of take it easy. I like rest weeks. And then number six, it needs to have a taper period. That's a period between the longest of the miles right before your race. Your mileage needs to start to wind down so that way you're ready and energized and ready to go for race day. If your plan has you running really far right up to race day, it's going to stress you out and it's going to be too much. And it's probably going to put your body in a position that it could get injured. Yeah. There's typically three flavors of training plans. Which plan you choose depends a lot on your financial commitment and your desired results. If you want to crush your competition and get maximum results, or maybe you just can't seem to cross that finish line after several attempts, or even if you just need more accountability, maybe coaching is the best option for you. All right, maybe you're just super dedicated and you love spreadsheets and numbers and just overthinking everything. And you're probably a little more experienced. Then you could try the DIY style of training. Honestly though, if you're watching a video about training plans, then this option probably isn't for you. I'm not to this point yet. I do make some modifications to a pre-structured plan, but for me, it's still just not worth the effort. I just want to worry about checking boxes and running miles. Developing a training plan can be a lot of hard work, and a pre-structured plan just takes all that work and effort away. I do really well on personal accountability, so I usually choose a free plan. So, what plans worked well for me? Well, when I started my ultramarathon journey, I did a lot of research. Just enough to get, overwhelmed. My goal was to run the Bear 100. And so I'd read a lot of articles about how to run 100 miles. One of the websites that kept popping up with really good articles was called Marathon Handbook. And so I looked into their training plans. They had a just finished plan And then they had an improver plan, and I'm pretty sure they have a best time or something like that plan. In fact, right now on week 8 of the 50-mile improver plan, as of January 2025, they're free. They just ask for your email. They have sent me an appropriate amount of emails with some really good tips. They've done really well for me, so I've included the links below. Now, I will say that I do make some modifications to their plan. I made sure to download the Google Sheets version so it was easier to make those changes. First of all, on their plan, all the big runs were on Saturdays and Sundays. And as a church-going man, I decided to leave Sundays as my rest day and move my Sunday runs to Friday. I also added a formula to put a date at the beginning of the week so I knew which week I was on. It was just a few changes, but it made the plan adapt to my life a lot better. If Marathon Handbook decides to partner with me, there'll be a link up in this corner below to see the Going Owen plan. If it doesn't pop up, then let Marathon Handbook know that you want the Going Owen training plan. Hopefully now you have enough information to pick a training plan. If you want to follow along with me, head on over to Marathon Handbook and grab your free training plan. We're going to go through each day of that training plan and explain what everything means. Everything from intervals to back-to-backs to long days, strength training, gym sessions, perceived efforts, and what active rest day means. So click on this video and we're going to talk about stretching, and we're going to go through the routine that I do every single day. We'll see you over there.